Good morning, this is Airpost Creations 2021. Today is Saturday, and today I like to talk a little bit about gemstones and crystals. Since tomorrow I plan to give a reading of such things like gemstones and crystals, so I thought it is a nice idea to give us a little overview about how crystals and gemstones are formed. So, gemstones, they are a product of the earth. They are starting very small and over time developing into the end product that we so cherish. But before they become that shiny, beautiful gemstone, or that not so shiny but still beautiful stone, things have to take place before that. Many crystals, they are growing by means of water that is rich in dissolved minerals, and other crystals, they are created by volcanic eruptions. Such melted rocks bring to life the crystals of many shapes and many colors. It takes time, of course, making a gemstone. The temperatures and the pressures of volcanic eruptions, they first combine the atoms in order for the crystals to be born. Diamonds and zircons, for instance, they are formed deep within the earth, and when a volcano is active, eruptions can bring them to the surface. When the volcanic eruptions cool down, then crystals are forming. Our Earth is rich with active volcanoes, but also with some heavy bombardments of meteorites. And meteorites, they are another source of bringing the gemstones here to Earth. But before crystals and gemstones they are formed, it takes a very long time, since meteorites do not bring us a finished product. So, what do you think is the oldest gemstone? It is the zircon. The origin of the zircon may go back as far as 4.4 billion of years. By contrast, the diamond is only 3 billion years old. And what is the most expensive gemstone? It is the blue diamond. 1 carat of a blue diamond is worth $3.93 million. What is the rarest gemstone? That one is Painite. This stone is not just the rarest gemstone, but also the rarest mineral on Earth. Painite made it into the Guinness World Record of gemstones as being the number 1. And for being the rarest gemstone, Painite was only discovered in 1951. Most of this world's crystals, they are mined in India, China, Brazil, and Madagascar. These countries, they are today's main producers of beautiful gemstones. There was also a man named Georg Frederick Kunz. He was an American mineral collector and born in New York. And he began at a very young age showing great interest in minerals. All he got to know about the gemstones he taught himself by reading many books and by doing lots of field research. This expertise landed him a job with Tiffany and Co., and his enthusiasm and his great knowledge propelled him into a vice presidency by the time he was only 23 years old. The gemstone Kunzite or Kunzite was named after him in his honor. Georg Frederick Kunz also supervised the cutting of the very large stone that became known as the Tiffany yellow diamond. Kunz also promoted the adoption of the decimal metric system of weights and measures in the United States, and even was the president of the American Metric Association. Many of the books that he wrote, they are still today in print. The gem collector Kunz traveled around the world in search of pearls and gemstones, and when he found them, then some were named after his associates or his patrons. So did he find a rare gemstone that he gave the name Tiffanyite, after a man he knew whose name was Charles L. Tiffany. Another stone he called Morganite, and Mr. J. Piermont Morgan was the name giver for that stone. Crystals, they have a very long tradition, especially in the Eastern religious traditions. Their crystals as well as astrology are not rejected, while Christianity saw them rather critical. God had not given any authority to either the stars or astrology was claimed by Christians, and so the likening of crystals the church saw a false adoration of a god. There is no mentioning of chakras in the Bible either, but this should not be a cause of any concern to us. The Bible does not mention a whole lot of other things either. No word about electricity, viruses, hormones, or ultraviolet rays, and much more. And only because people back then did not notice these things does not make them unimportant or irrelevant. We over time discover many new things and then we gain new wisdom. So I guess we can say that the Eastern religious traditions, they are more open to spirituality as a whole. Spirituality is not subject to a particular religious teaching, and crystals are not the work of an evil power either. Crystals, they are simply beautiful, and so let us thank for that. There have always been gods and goddesses, maybe not in the Christian sense, but true spirituality does not need a belief in one God. It only needs a belief in goodness and in universal love. what today is called New Age spirituality, I like to say, is not new at all. Well, it might be new for those who always rejected spirituality as something unreal, but spirituality is not new and has been here since the existence of this earth. This is more a reawakening of the old spiritual teachings. And while Christianity spoke of crystals used for healing, a work of heretics, and therefore dangerous and evil, in Hindu religion and in Eastern spiritual traditions, the crystals are a part of that tradition, and seeing the crystals as very powerful. The belief in chakras started in India. Chakras, they are an elemental part of Hinduism and especially the yogic philosophy. Indian spirituality does not forbid crystals or makes the likening of such crystals synonymous with the chasing after false gods. Is any of crystals' healing powers scientific proven? Most likely not, but this does not mean that one cannot love crystals and believe in their powers. This is not a chasing after false gods, and while there might be no scientific studies promoting physical and or spiritual healing by using crystals, one can still appreciate gemstones as the magnificent, beautiful creations they are. So I hope you enjoy your gemstones and the spirituality they carry within them. Keep an open heart and an open mind for all things, and wear your amulet or your talisman or any other object that you trust in and that gives you joy and makes you happy. I see you tomorrow if you like. Then I will do a reading about crystals, 1 or 2 crystals for each of the 12 zodiac signs. So drop in if you have time and if you like to drop in. Okay? I thank you for listening. Wishing you a wonderful Saturday. Take care and goodbye.